And we are live. Welcome back to What's Good with Gil and Larry. Today is December 18th, 2023. And this is our holiday special because, as you know, this is the Christmas time. This is the time of the year, the first time and only time of year that people actually can be civil. And you sound weird if you're not civil. So now we have our special guest, Michelle, back. As you know, this is our movie preview. This is our top 10 movies. We did our Halloween special during the Halloween time. I'm very curious about y'all top 10. Now, last time we kind of overlapped some of these movies. I'm sure these are the same way here. And I got two honorable mentions too, by the way. But I got a top 10. This is much more easier for me than the Halloween was, believe it or not. This was actually way more easier. And I didn't have to tap to my childhood for this one. Okay. So let's start off, my man Gil. Michelle, I'll let you narrate this, Gil, because you're great at this. I'll bring you on in, my brother.
Alrighty. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is not our normal kind of show, but we have said many times we're not just going to do sports. I thought the Halloween special one was really good. That's why we brought Michelle back, and now we're going to do the Christmas version, which is Christmas movies / Christmas specials. And I have a feeling, we're going to overlap a lot of the same stuff. So I guess we'll just figure out the level of which we like certain things. I might like a movie that's like 8th, and Michelle might like it 3rd, or Larry might like it 5th. And if we overlap, maybe someone will bring something about the movie that wasn't talked about before, or we'll just kind of zoom over it for the most part. We're going to play it by ear. This is about having fun. It's the holiday season. I'm glad to be spending with you all and the audience. So let's get it cracking lacking. Michelle, once again, you are our guest and you're the female. So there's 2 reasons why you go first. Please have fun with it. Start with number 10 and let's work around the room.
All right. Well, my number 10 is from 1982, and it's a British animated special called The Snowman.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also based off of a book by the same name that was like a picture book. And it actually, like, there's some cool stuff about it because there's literally no words in it. It's just all like music instrumental. The only time there's really any words is the one song has a little bit of lyrics. But it's so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful, and it's like a nice little like dream sequence / fantasy for like a child to have, like the snowman's alive and takes them like on a journey. And it's just, I always remember it being just so pretty and beautiful, and it resonates from when you're a child like on through the rest of your life.
I agree.
Oh, very nice. When was the last time you watched this?
I didn't watch it this year yet, but I probably watched it in the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it, so
Really?
I have to check it out.
You never seen The Snowman?
Not this version. I mean, I've seen Frosty the Snowman.
I know
but
exactly
I've
what
never
she's
seen
talking
what
about.
she's talking
I've
about.
seen it.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah,
it's very
it's
good.
cool.
It's very pretty.
It's good.
And
Yeah,
the score is by Howard Blake. I figured we should say that since it's pretty much just a music background.
Right. Oh, pretty sweet. I'm gonna have to mark that down. All right, Larry, you're up, homie.
Mine is probably unconventional because me and my lady had this argument because she said that's not a Halloween, that's not a Christmas movie. I said it is a Christmas movie because
I know where I'm gonna stand.
It's a Christmas movie, okay? Edward
I think I know what we're gonna do
directed
here.
in 1990 by Tim Burton. Edward Scissorhands. Yes, it was because she said
okay.
Edward Scissorhands with Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder was the stars of this movie. When she found Edward Scissorhands, everybody's seen this movie. Unless you're just not on this planet, I'm sure everybody's seen Edward Scissorhands. She met him during Christmas time because she said, "I can't leave you alone in this house, in this castle, all by yourself." And she took him home. And as we all know what happened with each other's boyfriend and everything. And he carved out the nice little ice snowman thing. And, it was just a great movie, man. I thought it was very, for me, it was different. When that first came out, it was a different movie, but it was
a good one. It is a good movie. I might have to go with her a little bit because
You don't think so? That's a Christmas movie. She says Halloween. I says Christmas.
I don't think it's either. Actually, I wouldn't call it Halloween either. But hey.
That's funny because I kind of agree with Michelle. I wouldn't call it Halloween or Christmas, but I can see how you could kind of put it in both.
Right.
Probably a little more in Christmas if I had to choose between the two. But when I think of Edward Scissorhands, I don't think of it as a Christmas movie, but I do like the movie. I believe that is the first collaboration between Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. And I also believe that is the last movie that Vincent Price was in before he passed away.
It was. It was.
That's
now
true.
that's a legend.
Yeah, it's for sure, for sure. Well, my picture's gonna be off-putting, man. I'm a left-handed person, man. I think lefty, man, and I just always associate that with like
there's
around
nothing
Christmas
wrong with
time.
it. It's your list. There's nothing wrong with it.
True.
All right, I guess I'm up. It's funny. My number 10 kind of goes with our Halloween one that we did that I had number 1. If you remember, my number 1 was The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. My number 10 is A Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965 TV special. Charlie Brown is just kind of moping around, not being in the holiday spirit. And he kind of gets a suggestion of putting on like a play, a show for the town. And on stage, in the middle of the stage, was this weak, skinny Christmas tree that if you put one ornament on it, it tipped over. Well, anyway, as everyone started feeling the Christmas spirit as the show goes on, the tree gets stronger and bigger, and you can put more decorations on it. It's one of those that when it was on CBS, every single Christmas, probably like a week and a half before Christmas would come, they would air it. I would always look forward to it. As you know, and I did this with the Halloween ones, a lot of these on my list are how I felt when I was a kid watching them and what I would watch today as well as an adult. But the kid ones leave the impact. This is clearly a kid one. Probably not going to watch this one again until I get Apple TV and I watch it with my son. But other than that, I'm probably not going to just watch it myself like I looked forward to it back in the 80s when I was, a little dude. But so that is my number 10. Michelle,
I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. I mean, everyone's seen it.
Yeah.
So that's my number 10, and it is off of TV. It qualifies as a Christmas special more than a Christmas movie, in which it's not a movie. Even with commercials, they had to stretch it out to a half hour.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah, it's short. It's probably like 19 minutes long. So anyway, that's my number 10. Michelle, can you kick off number 9?
Yep. So my number 9 is also like a television special, but it's one of the many Rankin and Bass ones called Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and it's from 1970. And I mean, I love all the Rankin and Bass stuff. There's so many of them. It was kind of almost hard for me to pick one, but I wasn't gonna go with the Rudolph because everybody will choose Rudolph. And there's so many other Rankin and Bass ones that are so good. I was actually having a hard time between Santa Claus is Coming to Town and A Year Without a Santa Claus. But there's so much that I love about Santa Claus is Coming to Town that has the Winter Warlock in it, and it's kind of like the story of Santa Claus, how he became Santa Claus, and it's just a great one to watch. And the stop animation stuff, all those Rankin and Bass things were just so awesome to see.
Yeah, I agree.
I have it on my list. It's like, I don't want to say honorable mention, but how I do my list is I put down everything that I liked. Then I start to rank them, and then I see if there's any, I can't have 20 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So it didn't make my honorable mention, but I do have it down there. I do remember watching it. It's the same as like a Rudolph.
Yeah.
That kind of special. They show him as a little, almost like a baby growing up and turning into
Yep.
Santa Claus. I do remember that one.
That's a fact. Well, I guess my number 9 would be, you know what, man? I like this because it's a hilarious movie, plain and simple. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. They shot in 1989. As you know, Chevy Chase was starred at, I believe, Dennis Quaid. Was it Dennis Quaid? Was it Randy Quaid?
Randy Quaid.
Was the cousin, the crazy cousin, right?
Yeah.
that lived with the and then I think was Dan Aykroyd in that one too? Was he the boss? I'm running up still.
No,
boss.
Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother.
Yes, yup. That's who it was. Yup, his brother. They ended up kidnapping him because he messed up.
He wouldn't give out a bonus.
He didn't give him his bonus. He didn't give him his bonus.
Jelly of the Month Club.
Yeah, but man, if that was just hilarious, especially when they ate the Christmas dinner and it was all messed up. Then the tree, then the they electrocuted. Anything you could think of went wrong. Then the lights, and it was just if you followed National Lampoon, it was just like a bunch of stuff that could have went wrong in that movie. But at the end of the day, that a family came together. As dysfunctional as their family was, and they were definitely dysfunctional, they all came together. So that always stood out to me because it's just a hilarious movie, man. And it's definitely a Christmas movie.
There's definitely a lot of great, hilarious scenes.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love that Chevy Chase is wearing a Chicago Bears hat for half the movie. I love all the lights, obviously. That was pretty cool. I love when the police come to the house and Beverly D'Angelo freezes. You know that part I'm talking about. That's very funny. I feel like I could really relate to Chevy Chase's character, and I would also say I think that is, in my opinion, it's the best National Lampoon's Vegas movies of all of them. It's that Christmas one.
I agree. Totally agree.
I would agree with that.
Oh man. So what about you, Gil? What's your 9? I'm curious. What's your 9, brother?
My 9, Michelle kind of took a little bit of my thunder. My number 9 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Watched it every year. Every year. Based off the John
Rudolph
Marks,
is great.
Song. I loved it. I watched it. It's all when they come across the misfit toys, man. It's like I can sort of relate. At the time, so I loved it. It's a classic, and his bright nose got through that storm, and Santa was able to deliver those toys. So
Bumbles bounce.
Everybody has a purpose.
Yes. Every kid saw that, man. That was like our thing, man. You knew it. Like that Frosty Snowman, you just knew it was coming. So that was
we have it on DVD at the house.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one.
No, it is a good one.
All right, Michelle.
I like that.
Bust out number 8.
So my number 8 is kind of unusual, but also kind of down the National Lampoon line. It's a movie called Mixed Nuts from 1994, and it's directed by Nora Ephron and also co-written by her and her sister. Steve Martin's in it, Rita Wilson, Madeline Kahn. It's actually the debut movie for Liev Schreiber. Adam Sandler has a part in it. It's just like it's kind of like a really like weirdish, but it's a dark comedy in a way. But it was one of those movies that made me laugh so hard. And it is very much like Christmas and what's happening. It's all taking place on Christmas Eve. The main 2 characters, which is Steve Martin and Rita Wilson, work at a suicide hotline. So you can imagine what kind of dark comedy there is. And it's really good. It's like one of those ones that I think was underrated. Apparently when it came out, it was a critical and a commercial failure, but it's weird because I do run into people all the time who will be like, oh my God, they know the movie. And it's one of those things I just think a lot of people, no one ever really fully gave it a proper chance.
What was it called again?
Mixed Nuts.
Mixed Nuts.
I got to try.
Mixed Nuts.
Mixed nuts. Definitely gotta see that.
It's definitely
Mixed nuts.
unusual. Gary Shandling's in it. Like, there's so many
Oh
people who
man,
are in it.
you got some. Yeah, they got some hitters in there. I like Steve Martin as an actor, so I definitely gotta see that.
I like everybody she mentioned. I like
I
Liev
did.
Schreiber. I mean,
Yep.
I like Rita Wilson. That's Tom Hanks's wife.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yep.
I like all that. Oh, that was out of the blue. I'm gonna try and check that one out again. All right, my man, what's up?
Oh man, this is another movie that was directed by Tim Burton, and it was made in 1993, and it was A Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, Jack. I like Jack because my old ex girlfriend used to say, "You like Jack?" I said, "I don't look like Jack." She said, "Yeah, you do. It's big head, small body, skinny body. You know, like Jack, the guy from Nightmare Before Christmas, right?" But besides her, I actually liked the movie. I thought it was a nice play on Christmas. Him being from Halloween Town, and then him going over to Christmas Town, and trying his best to make Christmas work the best way he could. It's just, especially with the animated puppets and all that stuff for Tim Burton. Obviously it's dark because it's Tim Burton. That's what he does. But I thought that was a great movie, man. It's one of the movies I watched to this day. As a matter of fact, I watched a couple weeks ago. Sure did, right on I believe Netflix. I watched it on Netflix. So I'm definitely a fan of A Nightmare.
It's definitely a love letter to Christmas, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
That's funny because I was gonna ask, do you consider it more a Halloween or Christmas movie? Because we watched it during Halloween with the kids.
Oh man, I thought
because it's dark.
It's like both. It's dark.
Yeah, I think it's definitely both.
But I think it's like both. You know what I mean? But
it is like both. The only thing is, because it's so dark, it kind of just, at least for the kids, it felt more like a Halloween movie than a Christmas movie. But it definitely qualifies as both. So no one's wrong in that case. In that case, that movie fits the bill for 2 seasons. There are some movies that people try and slide in there as a holiday movie, which I don't believe is a holiday movie.
It's a holiday movie, man.
If somebody doesn't say it, I'm going to ask a certain somebody about this movie if they think it is a holiday movie, in particular a Christmas movie.
Okay.
I already know what Michelle's going to say. So I'm curious what you're going to say, Larry.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe it makes your list. So there you go. So am I next? Is it me?
Sir.
Okay, number 8. I love this movie. I guess it qualifies as a Christmas movie, but this is not, if you're a good parent, this is not a movie you watch with the kids. It's not. This one is a little off for me, but I thought it was great, so it makes my list. I'm going to go with 2003's Bad Santa.
I knew he was going to say it. I knew he was going to say it.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes.
Ex-con man,
yes.
Rips off shopping malls every year on Christmas Eve. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's his best character role that I've seen him in. I'm not gonna say it's his best movie because I kind of like Armageddon, but I think as far as a character, he was very believable when he yells. When he's eating lunch and he's on his lunch break. And the lettuce is hanging out of his mouth. He's like, "Can't you see I'm on my bleeping lunch break?" Oh, and that movie was, unfortunately, it's sad news. It's the last movie that John Ritter was in. His good friend. John Ritter had died and was never in another movie or special.
I don't even remember him in that. That's
he's in it. He's in it. And back in the 90s, they were on a sitcom together, Billy Bob and John Ritter. They had been friends for quite a while. Yeah, he's in it. Doesn't have a big part, but he's in it.
Yeah, I've only seen that like once or twice, so.
Oh, I love it.
Movie though.
I thought it was funny and everything. I just for some reason I haven't watched it much.
Not for the kids though. That's when you watch at the office party.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, number 7, Michelle.
Number 7, I guess I could say like Gil harks back a little bit to Halloween because I did have a Halloween one of this, and now we're at Garfield's Christmas, which is from 1987. And just the same thing. The Garfield specials just were really, really good and fun to watch. And this was kind of sweet. Like, they're going to John's family's in the country for the holiday, and Garfield doesn't want to go, but then he starts seeing like all the memories of things they did, and then like he finds grandma's love letters from grandpa who has passed, and he gives them to her. It's just cute things. Odie makes him a cat's, like a back scratcher. And then there's like a silly funny part where like they light the tree and everyone's like, ooh, but they do like really, really big lips, like the way the animated did it. They're all like with their heads up, and it always cracked me up. It's just silly stuff like that. It's just a sweet one.
Yeah.
So Garfield made both of your lists. It made the Halloween and
Yep.
the Christmas, like Charlie Brown did for me. How about
Yeah.
that? Well, I'm a Garfield fan, so I think that's a good pick. Haven't
Yeah,
seen
right.
that one in a while, but I have seen it.
Oh man, I guess my next one would be shoot. Now you could take the one from 1984 or the one from 2009. They both work for me. 2009 was actually Jim Carrey was in this movie. He was actually the voice because the 2009 version of it is like kind of like an animated, semi-animated. And this is a Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. Is always just one of the movies that just I love. Especially you talking about talking about Scrooge and the Christmas past, present, and future. And there's another twist later on my list. I'm giving a heads up for my list that made it higher up for me.
It's not where I thought you were going when you were saying Jim Carrey. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
these are 2000. Oh, you thought I was going with that one? That didn't make my list. That didn't make my list. Nope.
That's
I
what
didn't
I
like
was
that
originally
one.
thinking too.
I
Until
didn't
you
like
gave
that version of the one. You know what I'm talking about. I didn't like that version. Probably made one of y'all lists.
Me neither. That's why I was like, oh.
Nah, I didn't make my list. But I always loved the Christmas Carol, man. It's one of the movies that just, once you understood the concept of it all, especially 1984 one, it was like, because when you're watching as a kid, I was like, what's this old English type of movie, right? But then when you start to get into it, it's like, man, this is a great movie. And I know in school they used to show it to us in school around this time. That's the first time I saw it. I used to, they used to have auditoriums, for the kids. I don't know if they still do that, but we used to have auditoriums, have a big projector, and we're all going there around this time. We loved it because it was no school. We had to do no schoolwork. That's what I know. I remember I was like, yeah, we ain't got no schoolwork. But yeah, I always loved it, man. It was one of the movies that always stood out that I loved, So that's just a nostalgia thing for me when it comes to Christmas Carol.
That's cool.
I'm right with you. There are so many Christmas carols to choose from. I mean, you could just do a top 10 of Christmas carols if you wanted. I'll get into it a little later. But the one you picked was good. Not my favorite one, but it was good. Now, I don't want to speak for Michelle, but I know Michelle doesn't love Jim Carrey. So I'm going to guess that if she's got a Christmas Carol on her list or she enjoys a Christmas Carol, the Jim Carrey one that you chose is probably not one of her favorites. Am I right?
Correct. My top 2 Christmas carols have made it to my list. Little foreshadowing there.
Okay. Something to
And they're
look
probably
forward
not at
to.
all what you guys would even think. Well, you might guess one, Gil.
I think I'm gonna guess one. You didn't tell me this, but I think I know you well enough where I could probably guess one.
Yeah.
When you say it, if I'm right, then I'll say that was the one I was gonna guess. So I don't give it away.
We're probably on the same page with the one. Because I told you I got, I ain't gonna give it away, but I got another one on my list, but I ain't gonna give it away.
Okay.
I'm curious.
All right. Okay. Well, so we're at number 7, right?
Yes.
So this is nostalgia. I'm talking like early to mid 80s. I think late 80s, I kind of faded away from this one, but early to mid 80s, I loved this TV special. I only got to see it once a year like those other ones. Love this one. Love this one. Love this one. Now, this one kind of goes by two names, but I know it by one name over the other. And this is an oldie, but a goodie.
Ooh, I think I know.
1934.
Yep.
I know it as March of the Wooden Soldiers. Some people know it as Babes in Toyland, but it stars Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. What a movie. I know Michelle has seen this. I
Yeah,
know it.
I love
I don't
it.
even need her to tell me. This is right up her alley. But I mean, this duo, you can argue, is the best comedy duo in the history of cinema altogether. And I think this could have been, might be, I think it is their best work in any movie. Total Christmas movie. At the end, the battle scene when they press the button in the back of the wooden soldiers and they start coming out. Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Larry, I don't know if you've seen this or not.
I've seen it.
I hope you did. I hope you did, because I mean, this is American cinema, old school, black and white, as good as it gets. I mean, this is top of the food chain, this movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
I gotta see it. Never saw it.
Oh,
I noticed
no.
they've been playing it a lot on Thanksgiving now, as opposed to Christmas
Really?
time.
Oh.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it in a very long time, but if I ever come across it, I'm probably going to record it and watch it, because I loved it. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Michelle, you're up at number 6.
So at number 6 is one of my Christmas carols, which is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol.
Oh,
I wouldn't have
oh!
thought that.
I would never thought that either.
Yeah, that's an animated one from 1962.
Oh,
Magoo is voiced by Jim Backus, who was on Gilligan's Island as Mr. Howell. People might know that. And a little interesting tidbit about it is it was the first animated Christmas special to be produced specifically for television, which I thought was interesting. But I don't know, there was just always something about it. I think my mom and her brother and my uncle liked it when they were kids. And so obviously we had seen it, and it's just like there's just something about it. It's fun, it's well done. I could almost see it as if it was like real people as opposed to animated. And they have like a couple of songs in it that are fun. And I don't know, I've always enjoyed it. And it probably would have been my favorite until another one came out after it.
I still got a chance that I might know which one that is. Still got a chance. I do remember the Mr. Magoo one, but that did not pop into my head.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people forget about
Rolodex
it.
Of Christmas carols, but
that's me. There's a lot of stuff I love that I think a lot of people don't remember.
I didn't remember, but now that you reminded me, I do remember it, and it was good. But I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best.
Well, there is a lot of them.
Yes, there are.
It
there
is.
are. All right, Larry.
This
Number
movie,
6.
man, it's from 1990, and it starred Macaulay Culkin, and this is Home Alone. Home Alone. As you know, he got left behind by his family on Christmas, and Joe Pesci, played. We're known best as a gangster, but this was actually his comedy. He did a great job. Who was the guy that was his partner, man? The tall guy.
Oh,
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern.
Yeah, Daniel Stern. Yeah, hilarious movie. Hilarious, man. Oh man, and just to be left at home, and then all the things he made out the house. Obviously, everybody's seen Home Alone. I should have to really break down Home Alone. I don't know nobody who hasn't seen Home Alone. Hilarious. My lady was actually watching that and 2, so she took me back.
I actually really love the second one. I don't. It's not that I don't like the first one. I just, for some reason, I really love the second one.
Yeah, the second one really hit home. Like it really did. Yeah, I like the second one too, Michelle.
Gee, I wonder why Michelle likes the second one. I wonder.
It's just good.
Could it be because of one particular actor that was in the second one?
He helps.
He helps. Is that what you said? He helps. He is the cherry on top of that cake for Sunday. whatever metaphor. I love the pick. I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say I love the pick.
Okay, my brother.
Okay, so it's me.
Yes,
Number
sir.
6. It's the last one before we get into our top 5. I'm gonna go with the one that seems to be on repeat in my house right now, and that is Elf. 2003. Will Ferrell and the late James Caan. Another guy who's good at playing tough guys and gangsters. So Will Ferrell, I think it's one of those roles where I can't picture another actor playing that part. I think he was born to play that part. I thought the story was great. I thought Will Ferrell at his absolute best as far as roles go. I'm not going to say it's my favorite movie he's done, but I think it's probably the best role that he's done. Anchorman's really good. Step Brothers is my personal favorite.
Step Brothers, hilarious.
I think as a
hilarious.
role, I think he nailed it better than I think anybody else would have nailed it. Maybe John C. Reilly, a close second, but I think Will Ferrell, I'm gonna give it to him on this. I thought Elf was incredible. Human, raised by elves at the North Pole, comes to New York City to meet his biological father, and then, you know, the rest is calamity, but it makes for a very good Christmas movie. The late Ed Asner is also in it. He played Santa Claus. Yeah, I you know, it's funny, and when they go into the Empire State Building, they must have really filmed it in there, because I've been inside the lobby of the Empire State Building, and it's exactly like that. Exactly. I don't know if you've ever been inside, Larry or Michelle, but I've been inside a couple times, and it literally looks. They must have filmed at least the one or two scenes where they're at the Empire State Building. They must have literally filmed it in the lobby. I don't think they recreated that, so that was pretty cool. So Elf, that is my number 6. I'm
Not a
sure
bad
the two
movie
of
at
you
all.
have seen it, you know, once or twice.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. That's a great role we played. Great role.
Michelle, you a fan of Will Ferrell?
Pause. Did you
I
pause?
I don't know. I don't
No.
dislike him per se,
I
but
don't know.
I don't really like most of his movies. But I did like him on SNL,
He was good on SNL.
so it's hard to say.
So you don't like most of his what is it about most of his movies that you don't care for? You don't care for his comedy style?
I think so. I think they're. I don't like little boy humor,
Okay.
and I think they're a little bit too much of that. But they're not as bad as other people who do little boy humor. So I don't know if that makes sense.
So like Adam Sandler, not a big fan of his movies.
I mean, he's another one. Like, there's a couple things he does well, and then there's other things that are just like kind of more just obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm
And
with you
then,
I'm with you, Adam Sandler too, Michelle. I am
yeah,
an Adam Sandler fan. I know.
Yeah,
Don't shoot me, man. I really don't.
well,
I
that's
don't
all
know, man.
right.
Don't do it. I mean, it's
it's
just
weird because there's some people who've come from SNL who were really great on SNL, but they can't like do, I think, beyond that per se. Like, they can't do movies. It doesn't mean
100%.
that
And
they're
I
still
don't
not
get it, because
good in certain
I think
ways,
there are
but
some that were funnier than the ones that are making it big.
yeah, I agree with
yeah.
that too.
What Sherry O'Terry,
Yeah.
Chris Kattan as what was that character? Was it Monkey Boy? Was that his character on SNL?
Was that the
Or
mango one?
he was like a little monkey.
Yeah.
He was like a little monkey, and he would throw him food, and he would like eat the food, and he would be on top of the table and eating the food, and he did a skit with The Rock, and they were both doing it. I thought that guy was hilarious. Why I don't know. Sherry O'Terry, I mean, to me she was just as funny as as a Gilda Radner back in her
Yeah.
time or whatever. I thought she was great. But Molly Shannon, she's in everything. She does voice acting. She does all these movies. I don't know. I agree. There are some that seem to be favored a lot in SNL for whatever reason, and there are others that get passed over. But I
I
think are
like
just as
Chris.
funny.
I like the Chris Farley late man. Chris Farley recipes. Chris Farley. I loved his movies, man. He was hilarious to me, man. He was
Yeah.
hilarious, dude, man.
Well,
Him and
he
David
was the
Spade.
guy. He was the one that all of them that were kind of on the show at the same time with him. Sandler and
Spade.
David
Uh,
Spade and the other guy, the one that always Schneider, Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
They were always like it was
Rob
always
Schneider funny.
Farley. He was the funniest. He was
Yeah.
the
Bruce
funniest of
Bigelow.
all of us. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
Top five.
All right. I guess we're heading into the top 5, the creme of the creme.
Some of the
I gotta be
crime.
honest, I thought at this point we would have overlapped a little more than we did. So I'm gonna assume in the top 5, especially like me and Larry, we might have the same exact top 5, just in a different order.
I don't
Oh,
know. I'm definitely thinking you guys probably won't have any of my top 5s for the most part.
Well, let's find out.
let's find out.
You're up.
So, my number 5, which would be the only slight possibility of somebody else having, and I really don't think so, is White Christmas from 1954. Um, I mean, it's White Christmas, but like
Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen. First film to be released in VistaVision, which is kind of cool. It's a widescreen process that widens the area of the 35 millimeter than before. Um, all the songs were Irving Berlin, which I actually didn't know for the longest time, so that was cool when I found that out. I knew obviously White Christmas was Irving Berlin, but and then the little thing that most people don't know is that that wasn't the first movie that White Christmas was in. It was in another holiday movie from 1942 called Holiday Inn, but they decided to make this movie, which is just like one of those movies when you watch it, it's always just kind of like a great story. It has cute little scenes, I like the little scenes like when the two sisters are doing their nightclub act, and then there's like funny scenes about that as well that the guys do. It's just I don't know, it's just a sweet story. I guess it's why it like lasts, for being from 1954 and people still watch it every year and they play it every year. And I think that's pretty cool.
Oh well, it's one of the top uh, watched, viewed, especially when it came out, Christmas movies of all time. And the song "White Christmas" is the number one
It is.
listened
Yeah.
to Christmas song of all time. But I think it's because of the setting, because I think because of the war and everything like that, I think played into
movie?
it. Now, I got a personal thing, and this is just me, but like you said, Christmas, like Christmas in Connecticut and things like that. I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be honest. And Larry, I don't expect you to agree with me because you probably don't know about this. Michelle, you might know about this. Bing Crosby, I grew up as a kid watching some of his stuff because of my mother. But then I watched him get interviewed by Barbara Walters on, I guess it was 2020, back in the late 70s. And I can't watch him anymore. He turned me off so much during that interview that I have a bad taste in my mouth when
The
it comes
late
to Bing
70s.
Crosby.
That
When I
must have been
listen
right
to his
before he died.
songs, what's that now?
This is the late 70s. It must have been right before he died.
Yeah, it was like 78, something like that.
I was born 70.
He did an interview with Barbara Walters, and she was talking about like how he raises his kids. He believes in discipline, and he was talking about how he would spank and beat his kids with a hairbrush. I'm like, this is Bing Crosby beating his kids with a hairbrush. And then she had asked him about. I'm sorry to get off on this, but Barbara Walters asked Bing Crosby about what were his thoughts on if one of his kids moved into a place with another young person, like his son moving in with his daughter, and like he had a big house, so he's like, what if he wanted to come home and bring his daughter and live under his roof, and he was like, no way, before marriage, no, 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 no. And she was like, well, what would you do? I mean, that's kind of a popular modern thing to do. And he goes, I'd never speak to my child again, never. And she was like, never. He goes, this was a quote, I want to get the quote right. She's like, you would never talk to your son or daughter again. And he said, it would be me singing aloha on a steel guitar. That's what he said. I would sing aloha on a steel guitar. No, I would not talk to them again. He's like, I was raised Catholic. What do you expect? I was raised Catholic. I'm like,
No, a
I was
lot of
raised
them,
Catholic
like,
too. And
that was one of the things with Bing Crosby. It's weird because, like, especially because of all the types of characters he always played, but he was such a strict, very weird, with the way he raised the kids and stuff. And I know one, if not two of his children committed suicide, but
Yeah.
definitely one.
Wow. Man,
Yeah,
I ain't never
so
knew
I mean,
that.
it is weird, like some of that stuff,
that's why
but
they say, you should never meet your heroes. You should, be careful when you watch documentaries and
Yeah,
interviews, because how a person is perceived on the screen or in the limelight might not be how they are, in real life. And you see Bing Crosby with Bob Hope, and you're like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, these guys, they're sweethearts. And then you hear them in real life, and they're not the sweetheart we thought. The guy who played Lou Costello from Abbott and Costello, he was not the sweetest person like he came across in that comedy duo. So
no, a lot of them from like the old
Old
Hollywood,
way,
they
yeah.
yeah,
do have
old
that
Hollywood in
problem.
particular, it was
But
so
I also
competitive.
think,
And
unfortunately, I think that if you look back into everything, everybody's got something. Like, I'm
That's a
not
fact.
trying to make anything lesser, but
That's a
it's just
fact.
like we could find a reason to say dislike everyone.
Especially in
So it's
Hollywood.
hard, but I totally agree with what you're saying, and I understand that. I actually never saw the interview, but I knew how he was with the kids and stuff, especially.
you can YouTube it. It's like a
Oh
20
yeah,
minute full
You can, yeah.
interview.
I definitely would be interested in watching it. So
Yeah. Well, check it out. I mean, I didn't see it back when it happened. I saw it, later, in the 80s, and he had passed. But Barbara Walters had those specials where it was like, her top 10 greatest interviews, or however she categorized it, and it made it. That one made it. I remember that
yeah.
one. I remember Gaddafi was in another one. Anyway, so that's how I saw it. I saw it like probably almost 10 years after she actually did the interview. So number 5 belongs to you now, Larry.
Like for me with these picks, man, like I could have kept it like basic and kept it like Christmas, 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 but I wanted to think outside the box a little bit and think about what was like around the time and what was they pushing these certain movies around that time. So it wasn't necessarily a Christmas movie, but it was around the Christmas time. So my
Uh-oh.
next movie came
Uh-oh.
around the Christmas time because it was the Christmas time. It was in 1988, and it was Bruce Willis starred in this movie. It was Die Hard. Die Hard was based around
Oh,
Christmas time.
there it is.
Christmas time. Die Hard. Yes, Bruce Willis, as you know. Yeah, Officer John McClane. Yeah, he went to his wife's Christmas party, and they happened to take over that building. And as the story goes, you already know this dude went
I
around
know it.
with bare feet, and he caused havoc and did this thing. Christmas movie totally came out around Christmas time. We are definitely agreement with that one. Die Hard made my 5 because I don't care what you tell me. Die Hard is a classic to this day. Best movie he played in was Die Hard. So that's to me. I know he played a lot of movies.
Michelle, should I start?
Go ahead.
Uh, Michelle and I had talked about this, I
Did
think,
y'all?
last week, and we were both in agreement. We both do not not, not consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a great
Yes.
action film. It's the movie that made Bruce Willis a star, because all the other movies he did prior to that were duds. And everyone knew him best from Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd. Die Hard came out in 1988, I think you said,
88.
and it was great movie. And as a matter of fact, again, I'm not going to speak for Michelle, but I'm going to guess, and I think I'm right, Michelle's favorite actor in that movie is not Bruce Willis. I'm pretty sure.
That
I
would be
think I'm
correct.
more than pretty sure on that one. But
Was Professor
listen,
Snake?
I think it's a great movie. But when I'm watching the movie, I personally don't have a Christmas feel for it. Yeah, it's everything is happening on Christmas Eve. But to me, if you're going to consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, then are you considering Rocky 4 a Christmas movie?
I
Because he fights Drago on Christmas Day.
It didn't. If you Google top 20 Christmas movies, top 10, top 15, top 50, Die Hard pops up on there. That's a fact.
That's because people have made it a thing, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. But like when it first came out and all that kind of stuff, nobody was saying it was Christmas movie. It was released in July.
Nobody
I think
was
it's
like,
just
this is
a
the next
recent
great Christmas
internet
movie.
thing over the last 10 to 15 years. People
Now,
just want to make things about it. Then I hear, also related to that, I hear things where people are like, oh, well, Home Alone is Die Hard for children. And I'm like, what? What does that have to do with each other? I just think it's just one of these things that people just like to make a thing where it really isn't. Because the thing is, there's lots of movies that take place at a certain time, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Halloween, whether it's the winter, whether it's the summer. That doesn't mean that that's what the movie is.
so we basically
So that's the
Christmas like want
difference.
to feel
Like
Christmas.
like
You know
when
what I mean?
Gil called it an action movie, I'd say that
It's
is
definitely an action
more of
movie.
what Die Hard is specifically.
It's definitely an action movie. Now we basing on like the feel of Christmas. You know what I mean? Because if I would have went that route, I'd have went a whole different route. You feel me? I was just thinking about, man, a lot of these movies is like, I didn't want to say traditional kind of movies. Is like, I mean, my top is a traditional, but I mean, I kept it
Right.
on 100% theme. But for me, I was trying to think outside the box a little bit. Not like
It's
feel
your
like,
list. I'm
you
not.
know,
No, yeah. That's true
It's your
too.
list.
And
I'm not
also, like, I also get
critiquing it. I
that
just see it differently.
people would say in families, say individual families, maybe something happened one year and you guys all ended up watching such and such movie, and then it
yeah,
became a tradition to always watch that movie. So
that'd
to
be
you
nice.
guys as a family, such and such a movie is a Christmas movie, even though it isn't for like everybody else. And I totally get those types of things too.
This
It's just
wasn't
that
in a, that wasn't one.
sometimes I think people like to create things that, you know.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
lady had an argument about that. She said she was on y'all's same page. She was like, "Oh, I wasn't no, that's not a Christmas movie." I said, "Man, to me it is." She said, "It's not. It's an action movie." Same thing. Literally, she mirrored everything y'all just said. She said, "You can't say that." I said, "I can say what I want to say. It's my movie.
There
this
you
is
go.
America.
It's America." You know? You want me to say Love
Well-
Actually? I never seen it personally, but she said that's a good movie. Love Actually. I never seen it. That's an honorable mention to me. I never seen it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blurt
Well, wait
it
a minute.
out.
How can it be an honorable mention if you've never seen it?
I never seen it. I told her I was gonna mention it for her. She said, let them know
that's
that
cute.
that's a movie that I liked. And I was like,
Well, I could tell you something that she would probably be angry about. I never think of Love Actually as a Christmas movie, although I 100% understand why people say it is, and I kind of think it probably is, but I've never ever thought of it as a Christmas movie because when I saw it, and I do love it, I just thought of it as a really good, like, I like the Richard Curtis wrote it and directed it, and I like Richard Curtis movies. He had done Four Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill, and I don't like a lot of rom-com type of stuff, so his stuff is a little better, and I can handle that. So for me, it was just another one of his movies. I kind of forgot that it was like Christmas time and stuff like that. And there is like a line in there where it's like at Christmas, you have to tell the truth. So I kind of get that that might just be me like ignoring that it's a Christmas, but I like, so I can kind of go both ways with it. But I just never thought of it completely as a Christmas movie until more recently when it's been like pointed out to me more. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it is a Christmas movie.
Does it have like a Hallmark feel? You know how you watch some Hallmark movies and they be having like the Hallmark feel. You know what I mean? Where it's like wholesome.
It is a
Well,
little bit.
yeah.
It's better than a Hallmark, but yeah.
There's a few different stories happening at the same time.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yes.
There's love
Okay.
interests and love breakups and things like that, and they all kind of come together.
Yeah. And I think
I-
it's meant to be like all about like all different kinds of love, not necessarily just romantic love either.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty cool.
I gotta check it out. Then I thought I'd give her a play because I never seen this. And then she was
I don't know that it's your jam, Larry, but if you want to score points with the lady,
Yeah,
I would say
for
Yeah.
her.
I think she
check
would
it out.
enjoy watching it with you.
Well, since you brought up Die Hard, I'm going to ask you two
Yes,
questions.
sir.
Tell me if you first instinct Christmas movie, not Christmas movie. Gremlins.
Stop it. We can't talk about it. We can't talk
Okay.
about it.
Oh,
We can't talk
Well,
about
I got my answer since we can't
Okay.
talk
oh
about it.
no.
How about I don't know that you saw this, Larry, but I have a feeling Michelle did. How about The Holiday? You consider that a Christmas movie?
The one with Jack Black?
Jack Black and Cameron
Kate Winslet.
Diaz and
That's
Jude
another one
Law
that
and
I have
Kate
the same reaction
Winslet.
as Love Actually to. I don't know that I would consider it a Christmas movie, but I guess it could be slightly.
I mean, it is called The Holiday. And at
Right,
the
but it's
end,
called The Holiday because Kate Winslet is coming from Britain,
Mhm.
and that's what they call
The
vacation.
holiday, yeah, they do. A vacation's a holiday.
But
like,
isn't at the end? Aren't they together at the end, like drinking like hot cocoa or something? I think I remember.
I thought they were together at the
like
end,
the
and
four
it
of
was
them
New
together.
Year's. I thought it was New Year's though, so that's why I'm like,
Oh, maybe you're right then. Maybe it is New Year's.
At the end. That's why I'm not 100% because, like, but
So
because
Jack Black's in it?
the Brits, their terminology is a little bit different. Like when they say they're going on a vacation, they say they're taking a holiday.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't say Merry Christmas; they say Happy Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So, I just remember watching it and it not feeling like a Christmas movie until like the very end. The very end.
Well,
when
that's
the
because I
four of
think like
them-
that's my like that's where like the argument can come in with things whether it's a Christmas movie or not. Because again, just because it's at that time doesn't necessarily mean
It's a Christmas movie.
that's what it is. And there's a big one that weirdly didn't make my list, but is an honorable mention that I can tell you 100% isn't a Christmas movie, but like probably the entire almost the entire world would argue against me.
Rocky 4. Am
Yeah,
I right? Rocky 4.
you got it. You got
All right.
He did fight
Where are
Drago
we? Who's
around
up?
Christmas time. He did fight Drago around Christmas time.
On Christmas Day.
He did because his son was at home. You're right.
Christmas Day.
Yeah.
You remember Paulie was listening to
Paulie.
his little handheld radio and he Alvin and the Chipmunks were singing.
Then he had the robot was serving him.
He had the robot. Well, that was a birthday gift for Paulie. Yeah.
That was the next one.
No.
Oh,
It was in 4, but it was a gift. It was a birthday gift.
It was a birthday
for
gift. Oh, it was a birthday gift.
4
Remember he
is
brought
the
out the
one with the
cake?
Russian.
Yeah, Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fought
Just wanted to make
the
sure I was on
Russian
the right
and
one.
it was on December 25th.
Yeah.
But it was in Russia.
It was in Russian. Yeah, because 3 was when he fought Mr. T. Yeah.
3 was Mr. T. Yeah. Who's up? Is it me?
Yes, sir. What's your 5?
What are we doing? Number 5?
Yes, sir.
We're at 5.
We're at 5.
Okay, so I cheated a little bit. I didn't want to just pick one and not the other, and they went together so well. So this is going to be 1 and 2, but I'm going with Home Alone 1 and 2 as my number 5. I thought both were great. It would be silly to have one and not the other. So I just combined them together. They came out 2 years apart. But what's funny is when the first one came out, I saw it right away. Like as soon as it came out on VHS, I didn't see it in the movies. I was dumb and I went to see Rocky 5 in the movies instead.
Yeah, that was bad.
But then 2 years later, the second one came out and I didn't see it until I think I had already graduated high school. So it was like 94, 95 when I actually saw it. And I didn't really appreciate it as much because now I'm older. I'm in my late teens. And but then as an adult, watching it with kids and watching them like back to back, because that's really the way to do it. You
Yeah.
watch the original and then you watch the second one right after, and you're like, oh yeah, I like this. I like this. I get it now. It's better now. So Home Alone 1 and 2, Macaulay Culkin, Catherine O'Hara, which I thought was very sweet because Macaulay Culkin recently got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Catherine O'Hara was there as one of the witnesses. I thought that was pretty sweet that she showed
That is
up for
cool.
him and stood up for him for that. So yeah, that's my
And you got
number
a star for
5.
just them 2 movies?
What's that now?
You got a star for just them 2 movies?
No, he did other movies. You
Which
never saw the
ones?
good. You never saw The Good Son?
Oh, I did. Yeah, you're right. Yup, with him and yeah, he was crazy in that movie.
He was bad guy.
It was
not
bad
good.
guy. It was a good movie. Yeah, with him
I
and
like him in Party Monster.
I didn't see Party Monster.
Well, he was
Was
a
he
little
older?
older with that. What
was older?
about Uncle Buck? You didn't like him in Uncle Buck?
He was-
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God, Uncle
He
Buck
wasn't
is so
Uncle Buck.
awesome.
Hey, I'm sorry. He was in a couple movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Rocket
The
Gibraltar.
Nutcracker. Come on, show some respect.
I gotta show some respect. I'm sorry, I was being
Put
disrespectful.
some respect on his
career,
name,
his
man.
lineage, he deserved that star. You are totally correct, my brother. I forgot about all the movies he was in. And I've
It's
seen
not
the
about
movies.
quantity; it's about quality.
No, you're right. You're right.
All right, number 4, Michelle. Your Mount Rushmore
Okay.
is up. Your 4 horsemen are up. Your 4 aces. Your A team. Let's go. Number 4.
Number 4 is Santa Claus the movie. It's from 1985. Dudley Moore is a elf in it called Patch, and what I always think is funny about this movie is it made me hate John Lithgow for a really long time. Even though I really love John Lithgow, he's a great actor, but I always remembered him as the real jerk toy shop owner. You know, he wanted like to do he was always the one giving Santa problems. and like and I don't know, I love this movie. I think it's underrated. I don't think it gets played enough anymore. The guy who played Santa, his name is David Huddleston. He was kind of a character actor, but I think he did a really great job as Santa. Just I don't know, I've loved it so much. And it's just one of those great ones like where the elf it reminds me a little bit of Rudolph, where like the elf is different and he tries to do things to make things better, but he's like a little bit of a misfit. And then again, John Lithgow is like the bad guy, and I think that's why I couldn't take him for so long. Even when I was getting older, I'm like, I don't like this guy, because he's just that wants to be the evil toy empire, and Santa doesn't bring you toys anymore. And I don't know, it's a good one. I haven't seen it in a while myself. I do have it on DVD. I just haven't watched it in a while because I have my DVDs basically all
Was
packed
that
up
a
in
made
Rubbermaid.
for TV one?
No, it was in the movie
Oh.
theaters.
Yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
I saw it, but I remember watching it on TV. I guess that it was probably a year or two later after it came out when I saw it. I remember it. You remember it, Larry?
No,
I do. Especially when she started talking about the scenes, I do.
I gotta say, you brought up John Lithgow. I mean, for the longest time, this dude could kill it as a bad guy.
Yes, he
Yeah.
But
was.
then you start to see him in other things where he's, kind of like a good guy. And that show, Third Rock from the Sun, was hilarious.
It was.
Hilarious.
It was.
But yeah,
I also think
he
it shows
played
what a good actor he is, because basically around the same time, it was only like either the year before or the year after, he did Harry and the Hendersons, and he's the
He did.
father.
He sure did.
Mhm.
And he's great, good guy, everything. And I
Yep.
loved Harry and the
I
Hendersons.
did too.
And I don't think I realized for the longest time it was the same guy, because he's so like evil to me in the Santa Claus movie.
Because I remember I saw
he's
What's up,
so
Ricochet?
good.
You ever saw
Ricochet,
Yeah.
in Blowout, the John Travolta movie. What was the one where he's playing two characters, like two twins? What
Was that Raising Cain?
Raising
Raising
Cain.
Cain. Yeah. Yeah.
That
a
was
good one.
awesome.
Did you
That
guys
was a real good
see
one.
the season of Dexter he was on?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. Evil.
He was
Was
bad guy again. Bad guy.
he? Yeah, he's a
Yes.
great actor.
But
great
he's so
actor.
good.
Great
Great
actor.
actor.
Great
Tall.
actor.
Yeah.
By the way, since you brought up it, just a side note, Harry and the Hendersons. Did you know the guy who played Harry, the Bigfoot?
What's wrong? Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah, I know. I know.
Harry and the Hendersons. Did you know the guy who played Harry, the Bigfoot? Harry and the Hendersons. Did you know the guy who played Harry, the Bigfoot?
I thought I knew who he was, but come on.
It's
I
the
don't want to. I don't want to.
it's the same guy who played the Predator in Predator 1 and Predator 2.
Oh wow.
Was it?
Yep.
Was he really
I've
that
never
tall?
seen
He's
Predator, but
he's
that was
passed
interesting to
away.
know.
He's passed away, but yeah, he was like 7'3".
Wow.
Same guy who
Wow.
played the Predator in 1 and 2 was
I don't know
also
why I thought it
Harry
was
and
Herman
Harry and
Munster.
Henderson.
I don't know why I thought it was Herman Munster.
And he also made a cameo on Night Court. He was on one episode of Night Court.
Nice.
He stood next to Bull, the bald bailiff, and he looked down at him. He made some kind of comment like how you doing, little guy, or something like that. And I think his name was Richard Mole, if I'm correct.
Yes.
He recently died. He's like 6'7". He was like 6'7", and he had to look up to this dude. Sorry, just a side thing. It's one of those weird things with me. I apologize.
That's okay.
Who's up next?
My fourth one, man, is in 1988 they shot this movie, man, and it's actually a play off of my seventh movie, which was Scrooge. It's A Christmas Carol with Scrooged with Bill.
Scrooged
with Bill Murray.
The Bill Murray one.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh, that was a great one. That was a
That is a
great
good one.
It was a good one. It was a twist on a Christmas Carol, but it was just it was great. It was great. Did you see it? I know you see Scrooge.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
That was
my wife loves it.
Yeah, that's to this day. That was it. He was a jerk behind executive and forgot Christmas, and and then the taxi dude came smoking, and he said, "Yeah, here, waterfalls." He said, "How you give away all that meat?" Who came over his pocket, gave us a steak. He said, "I wanted a he said, "I want a fire truck." He said, "That's some great A beef." Paraphrasing,
Yeah,
that was hilarious, man. And that was his brother, wasn't it? Yeah, that was his brother. Wasn't that his brother? That played
That was the
Murray's
taxi
brother?
guy.
Yeah, his dad.
Is it David Johansen, also known as Buster Poindexter?
That was his dad?
He is. When he
was who it
sings
was,
that
right?
song.
Oh no, I thought that was
what's that song?
Hot, hot, hot.
Sing it hot.
Yeah,
That's him.
That was him.
That was him. Y'all told me something new, man. I don't know why.
he also before Buster Poindexter was was in one of the groundbreaking punk bands out of New York, the New York Dolls.
And he dressed a little bit in drag, didn't he? I think he used to dress in drag.
He had long hair and stuff. You know how punk guys were.
Didn't he like wear makeup and things like that?
Like a little bit, but like
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. The New York Dolls were pretty cool. Like I find his there's actually a documentary about him. I think it's called Personality Crisis after one of the New York Dolls songs that came out in the last year, and it's just interesting to see different variations that he has done over the years.
The ultimate performer. My number 4, it was already mentioned, so I'm not gonna add too much to it. I think Larry mentioned it. It's the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The one thing that I thought was funny that you didn't bring up were the neighbors next door. All these bad things kept happening, and the female was Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, she was.
So it was before Seinfeld. Not too much before Seinfeld, though. Only like a year or two. But I because they were so high scale and elitist.
Yeah.
All these bad things kept happening to their house and things like that. It was pretty funny. I love that movie. I got a Christmas tree ornament from my wife last year of the house. With the lights and everything, and it's on the Griswolds, and it's a Christmas ornament on our tree. So I am a big fan of that movie. So when you said it, Larry, I'm like, oh, there we go. We're gonna overlap.
Yes, sir.
All right. Top 3.
The
bronze medalist for Michelle is
number 3 is Muppets Christmas Carol.
I knew you were going.
I knew it.
I knew she was going there.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah, that's a
I love
classic.
it. I actually think it's one of the best Christmas carols there is.
Nah, it
It's
is.
also one of the most by the book Christmas carols that's made, and I actually didn't know that. It was a cool thing to find out. And and then I also recently just read an article where it's one of Michael Caine's favorite performances of his own stuff, which I think is
Mm.
pretty cool. And because you wouldn't expect that. You're like the Muppets Christmas Carol, but then they were talking about how he treated it, and he decided to treat it like as serious as he would other things, and he kept telling a lot of them to not look at him because he didn't want to look at the, I guess, like the Muppets on to like get thrown off, and I guess it worked because I think it's great. It's just so hardcore done.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I agree. Totally
I
agree.
love it.
Totally agree.
It's probably my second favorite Christmas Carol of
Yeah,
all of them, and there are a bunch that are very good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Michael Caine. It's funny seeing him in that. You know,
Yeah,
Michael Caine. I think of Get Carter. I think of The Italian Job.
Hmm.
yeah,
But yeah, in the Muppets, I mean, he was great.
It was.
He was he was awesome. That's a good one. I considered that, and there's a
Yeah,
reason
that.
why I didn't
Yeah,
pick it. I'll mention it in a little bit, but that's a great one.
yeah.
Larry.
well, you already alluded to my third one, and it was a question that you posed, and I cut you off. It was in 1984, and it was the Gremlins. The Gremlins was made my third because, oh man, I can just remember when that movie came out, man. Gizmo, pretty Gizmo, and man, I had a favorite cousin. It was a story behind it. I had a favorite cousin, man. That's what I always like going around. You ever have like some family members that you was just like, I was a tag along little cousin. So his mom always had like the exclusives. She had always had the newer, videos and whatnot. And I remember sitting there, and this dude's like, we call it sunning. He used to always shout like, "Ah, get out of here, man! You get on my nerves, right?" It was the first time the dude actually sat there and watched his movie with me, and I remember because we was watching the Gizmo, and I'm like, "All right, what's this cute little, it's Gizmo? Where are they going with this?" And when it was like, "Don't feed them after midnight," and the rules and all this stuff, and then next thing you know, they done messed up, freaking pour the water on them, and next thing you know, poop, 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 poop. And I'm like, okay, you see Spike and all this stuff. You're like, okay, and then they little bad little gizmos. Next thing you know, they unplugged the freaking clock and messed it up. So he done fed them chicken because they was complaining. Next thing you know, the cocoons, and then here come the Gremlins, man. And when they took over that town, man, I was like, wow, that was a great movie. A great movie. Two was good too, but I can't mention that as a Christmas movie because one was really a Christmas movie. Two was just hilarious because they transformed different gremlins, and that was to me better than one. But we stuck them with the Gremlins for a Christmas theme. I thought it was a Christmas movie. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I, 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 I'm not gonna speak for Michelle, obviously. I'm gonna go towards the no for a Christmas movie, but I think it's closer than Die Hard. I'll say that. I
Yeah, I guess I
I
could agree with you
really
there. It is a little closer.
it's a little closer. I don't think of it as a Christmas movie, but I can
No,
at
me neither.
least see how you can. The thing with Gremlins, and it was a good movie. I'm not gonna say it wasn't good, but I saw it in a double feature when it came out. 1984 was the best year of movies, especially if you were a kid. Gremlins was the first movie, but the second movie I liked even better. So I don't really think about Gremlins too much unless someone brings it up. But the second movie I saw after Gremlins was The Never Ending Story.
Oh, you never
Mm.
And
restored.
that movie
You like the never
was,
restored?
That's a good
man, did
double
I love that
feature.
movie. I'll take The Never Ending Story
Over
over
Gremlins?
Gremlins
I like Gremlins.
every day of the week, twice on Sunday, for sure. Oh my gosh, yes. Atreyu!
And,
Atreyu!
and then,
Falcor!
yeah.
Yes,
And
Falcor!
as I
Falcor.
got
Oh, come
older,
on,
as I
dude.
got older, I
When
watched.
the horse is sinking, when he's in the quicksand and he's sinking and he's pulling on him, he's like, "You've got to try! You've got to try!" Oh, my heart! Oh, Still gets me. Still gets me. Larry, you're cold, man. You're cold. You don't even shed a tear.
Gremlins, man. I like Gremlins, man. I guess because it's the mischief in me. I don't know. I'm a mischief.
I love Gremlins, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't think of it as a Christmas movie either.
It was around. They had Christmas bulbs, trees. They was wreaking havoc during Christmas. It was snow. Like, what do you mean? Like, what
There was
else is
snow.
gonna be?
Now
It ain't-
Christmas
it ain't
is
a horror
snow.
film.
Come
You know what I'm saying?
It was released in
Christmas time when
June,
you went
so
and
it
got
was
the
to be a
Gremlins.
summer
What's the Christmas
blockbuster.
present?
That's another thing. It was not released during Christmas time. It was released in the beginning of the summer.
Hmm
That's
on
another
there.
thing.
They messed up, man. They done messed up, man. They should have made it around Christmas time.
The same thing with Die Hard. Die Hard was released in July.
Yeah. Okay.
See, knowledge.
Well, Die Hard could be. You can lean, like I said, more, you can lean more to action packed, not Christmas. Once again,
It's your list. It's
we had
okay.
a Christmas party.
Quick question for Michelle. Your preference, not Christmas. Christmas isn't even a theme. Just a better movie. Gremlins, Never Ending Story.
Oh, Never Ending Story.
Never story. I was a fan of her story. Don't get it. When I was a kid, I would have definitely said Never Ending Story because I once again I like the dragon thing, you know. But as I got older, and I started to rewatch it to see how I liked it as a kid. And you asked me to watch Gremlins. I like Gremlins a lot better, probably because it's just, they was using what they had to use at that time to paint whatever they had to paint, and it just looked cheesy now.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I will say Phoebe Cates was in Gremlins, not Never Ending Story. So that's a notch for Gremlins. I'll say that. Where are we? We're top three. All right, here we go. My number 3 is on every single year. Christmas Eve,
man.
Christmas Day, 24 hours of it. You gotta see it at some point every single year. It's on TNT and TNN at the same time.
Yeah.
It's A Christmas Story, 1983,
Yep.
starring Peter Billingsley as Ralphie. We've all seen it. We've all liked it. We probably all got sick of it, but go back to when you first started watching it when you were a kid.
Yeah.
He's only a couple years older than Michelle and myself. So, you kind of relate when you're a kid and you're watching a kid. You kind of in your mind put yourself in the movie. And, did I ever want a BB gun? No. But when I got older, did I get a paintball gun? Yes. Yes, I did. And I treated it the same way. And yes, you protective eye care, so you don't shoot your eye out, kid. I love A Christmas Story. My favorite part that makes me laugh every single time I see it is when he goes to see Santa and he climbs back up the slide and tells him what he really wants, and Santa says, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." And he kicks him. And he goes down the slide, and he just stays there like a dead body. That makes me laugh every single time. So that is my number 3. Number 2 to me is obvious. So, well, my top 2 to me are obvious. So Michelle, your number 2. Should I guess? Can we play the guessing game? No,
I don't know if you would get it. You could certainly guess.
I can guess. I'm going to say no. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to say it. But I got. Let's just say Jimmy Stewart is in it. I'll say that.
No, you would be incorrect.
Incorrect? Okay. Your number 2.
My number 2 sort of goes along with my number 3 in a sort of kind of way, and it is Christmas Eve on Sesame Street.
Okay. Is it the old one? Is it the old one with Mr. Rooper?
Yes. I have loved this since I was little, and it's just, I don't know, it's so good. Like, I also think, like, when you watch it now, it's kind of funny because I don't know if you know, but if you were to say buy on DVD the original, say, old seasons of Sesame Street, do you know that they say not suitable for children?
Nah.
And
I didn't
like they
know
have
that, but I
warnings on
have.
them, and I think some of it is because like the kids would do things that you wouldn't let kids do now, like walk down the city street to go to their friend's house or like ride the
Oh,
subway on their own, some of those kinds of things. So, but I do think in a lot of ways, like when you watch it, it's very much a little bit like when we grew up, um, and things like that. But also, it's showing you too, like it's New York City, but like all these people are good, like family and friends, and like everybody's looking out for each other. And then, like the whole main storyline is because Oscar is saying to Big Bird, how does Santa get down the skinny little chimneys that they have in the city? So Big Bird goes up on the roof to try to see Santa come, you know, and he falls asleep. So Santa comes while he's asleep, and he doesn't understand. And then they're all looking for him, and they're scared because he's not the kind of bird who can sleep in the snow. And it's really cute, and they all come together looking for him. And there's a couple really good songs in there about like one is about like keeping Christmas with you all through the year, so it's not just at Christmas time that you have that kind of spirit. I just think it's really well done. And then there's almost also a little bit of the Gift of the Magi, the O. Henry story with Bert and Ernie, because they both sell at Mr. Hooper's store their prized possessions, which would be Rubber Ducky and the
Yeah.
Paperclip collection, to buy each other gifts, and they bought each other gifts for those prized possessions.
yeah.
And so Mr. Hooper, they also do a cool thing too, because like Mr. Hooper's Jewish, and he comes and gives them presents because he gives them their things back because he loved what they had done. And like they still like acknowledge like Happy Hanukkah to him and everything. I think it's really, really well done.
My bad. I know that you are a big Jim Henson fan, so I should have guessed that. I should have.
Right?
And I remember watching it as a kid. I actually tried looking for it. I don't know if it's a special or if it's in one of the seasons, but if you have Max as a streaming service,
Mhm.
they have all the Sesame Street episodes.
Really?
All
Oh,
of them
really?
starting from the 70s. Yeah, they have every single episode on there, and you could see how different like Oscar looked and
Yeah.
Big Bird looked and stuff. Episodes, they used to be long. They used to be like an hour long. Now they're only like a half hour.
Oh, really?
But I like I like seeing Mr. Rooper because
Yeah.
I remember the episode they had talking about when Mr. Rooper died.
Yeah. They
So
did a good job with that too,
yeah, they
because
did. They did. They didn't make it too sad, but you felt something. But anyway, getting back to your pick, it was a good one, and it's very you, Michelle. It's very you.
yeah.
All right, number two, Larry.
Well,
Larry, you got to come with the
my
combo.
brother, you actually elaborated on it just now. A Christmas Story is my number two. And I got a story too. I mean, you went over it, but I actually went and saw that house where he lived in. I went there.
Oh,
And yeah,
is that in
it's
Cleveland?
in Cleveland. It's in Cleveland. My lady's from Ohio, so she said, "I'm gonna just take you one day." That same. It's crazy, man. I don't want. If you've never been there, in the back of that street is like the hood. I said,
Oh,
Ralphie grew up in the
really?
hood. Dead serious, like dead serious. Where they got it at, it's like in the beginning. So when you come around the corner, you got his house. Everything is vintage. It's like a monument. It's like a museum. And then across from the museum is the fire truck. The fire truck and all that stuff. And it's actually a museum where you could get like the leg lamp, and they got all types of memorabilia that you could get. And we actually went in the house, walked around it, and man, it's just I was in Ralphie's house, man. It hit different. And literally, if you walk down the street, you're in the hood.
No kidding.
No kidding.
I
Night and
I
day.
would have never guessed that.
Night and
That's
day.
funny.
And these people, I guess they so used to tourists coming because it's a tourist attraction. But yeah, you'd be like, wow, that's different. Like literally walk down the street and Yeah, it's the hood.
No kidding. Did they have the lamp?
They
in
had
it?
the
Did
lamp
they,
and
did they,
everything. Everything. It
did,
was
did
the
they have
way
the
it
lamp?
was. Yeah, they had that. Yep, they had the lamp. They had they had the when you go to the store, they even had the bunny. You know, this kid, his brother had the little pink bunny
The
suit.
bunny outfit?
Yeah, they had that too. It's a great. It was yeah. It was to me. It was great, man. I was like, man, I never one I didn't know it was in Cleveland, Ohio, and so we hit the corner. I said, wow, that's Ralphie house, and yeah. So that's my number two was the Christmas story. Like you said, we saw that every year, and it was just like a tradition, you know.
Would
And my favorite part when
would
you
you
lick
guys think
oh,
would would you guys think last year came out with the sequel to it, the Christmas Story
she liked it.
Christmas?
She liked it. I didn't like it.
I didn't care for it either.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
didn't
that
like it.
funny?
It
The one
wasn't at
with
all.
Ralphie in it
Yeah,
again?
Ralphie was in it, but he go
Yeah, it's
crazy.
you haven't seen it. It's on
You ain't seen it?
Max.
No, I saw it. I think it was a little too serious in a way. Like it needed to be a little more funny.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But it was better than that other thing that they made that was kind of like a part two or something. Like maybe in the 90s it was, or early 2000s.
What different? It was different
Yeah,
actors.
I feel like Charles Grodin was in it. I could be wrong though.
Hmm.
But it did have different people.
Well, I like Charles Grodin, or I did.
Yeah, I
Um,
did too.
but I don't think I saw a part two to it. I saw this one, and I agree with Larry. It just wasn't that funny,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that they got somebody else to play the mother. I
Yeah.
know that she died in real life, so
But she
but
hadn't
they could
died
have.
before that.
She hadn't died before that.
Correct.
So what did she die last year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
don't. I
why,
mean, maybe
unless
she.
she was like retired or maybe she was ill, but
It's possible. Yeah, they got. I don't remember her name. It was the chick who was in the airplane movies, the stewardess,
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
and
what her
she
name
was
is either.
also Richard Dreyfuss's wife in What About Bob? So I mean, she's okay of an actress, but
Yo.
if you're getting all these original people to come back,
It was a great
don't have
movie
somebody
too.
else play the mother.
What,
I'm just saying, change the
what about
story
Bob
up
was
then,
great.
where she's not in the script at all.
Yeah.
But it was I was very excited and I was kind of disappointed. Okay, my number two. Again, we had talked about this before. There are many, many good versions of this story. I decided to pick my favorite, and that's the only one that made my list. My number two is A Christmas Carol, 1984, the George C. Scott one. That's my favorite one. That's the one that I will watch on
Yeah.
Prime Video every single year, along with the one that I have at number one. Again, 1984, great year for movies,
Yeah.
but this was a television movie, and I'm a big fan of George C. Scott. I thought he played the role fantastic. I love how everybody was cast in this one. It's really got a very creepy vibe to it.
Yeah. It does.
Um, it's my favorite Christmas Carol, and probably the Muppets one is my second favorite, if I'm going to be honest. But there are a bunch that I like. There's a bunch that I like over the Jim Carrey one that you picked there, Larry. I
Yeah.
gotta be honest about that. But this is Christmas Carol, my favorite one, George C. Scott. I'm curious what you guys. I'm sure you guys have seen this version. How would you rank this one amongst?
Well, that was on my seventh. That was when I was going with. I said 1984 or 2009, whichever one you want to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the 1984 because it was real. It was a real person. The 2009 with Jim Carrey was an animated one, like semi-animated.
Yeah.
But 1984 is the one I prefer. You know what I mean? That's the one. That's the one I saw, always remembered on TV.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was the one that drew me. Was the one from 1984.
What'd you think of that one, Michelle?
I mean, I think I've only seen it once, like probably a long time ago, so I don't probably remember it for some reason as well as you guys. but I do remember George C. Scott very clearly, and like I do remember it being like a creepier one, like you said. So it makes me want to rewatch it though, like because I haven't seen that one, like I said, only that one time. But there's so, like you said, there's so many Christmas
Yeah,
stories.
yeah,
It's almost kind of like almost becoming like a goal. Like I'm thinking as we're going along, I'm like I should try to watch at least every incarnation once. You know?
Right. The only thing, if you want to critique it, um, I just think it's part of the charm of the movie. I kind of look past it. Everybody in the movie has a British accent except George C. Scott.
hmm
He's the only one that doesn't have an English accent in the movie.
That's
I don't
interesting.
I don't know if he was trying and just couldn't pull it off. He sounded like what do you call that? Like old English, like an American, but how an American sounded 200 years ago
yeah.
versus
Okay.
how they sound now. That's really what he sounded like. But he didn't sound like someone from England like all the other cast members did. So I don't know.
That's
I it's on I believe it's on Amazon Prime, which is
okay.
where my number one movie is. Um, I'm very surprised that my number one did not make Michelle's top 10. I mean, unless it's number one, because that's the only one you haven't done. So, without further ado, the anticipation is here. Ugh, I feel like flexing. No, I don't. Michelle, your numero uno Christmas
My
movie slash special is
my number one, I feel like I don't know if you would know it, but then it's one of those ones I probably have spoken about, so it's possible. But it is One Magic Christmas from 1985.
with the what's her name? Ted Danson's wife,
Yes,
Steenburgen.
yes, Mary Steenburgen is in it.
I saw that in the movies.
Really?
Oh yes,
Wow,
I
I don't think I know
did.
anyone who's seen it in
I,
the
I
movies.
don't
That's
I don't want to take up
exciting.
your time. You know how I remember that movie? I remember seeing it in the movies and kind of have you seen it recently? Like if I tell you this part, are you gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it? Okay. So kind of in the beginning, she's singing in the shower and she does a
Yes.
spin. And my father, when the whole theater is quiet, my father blurts out, that was stupid because she did a spin in the shower. You know, it's dangerous. He goes, that was stupid. And that's like the main thing I remember about the whole movie. She was singing in the shower and
I
she did
can't
a
believe he
spin.
reacted so hard to that scene.
He did. He goes, that was stupid. He's like, and then he leans in on me. He's like, don't do that in the shower. That's dangerous. That's what I remember about that
That's
movie.
too funny.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
You
I
remember
think
that
I've
part? You
always
remember her singing in the shower?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I think what I like about it so much is it's very everything about it reminds me very much of like when I was a kid. Like I was like probably the same age as the kids you know, their kids in the movie. Um you know, we had a yellow kitchen, they have a yellow kitchen, you know, my mom had the same exact coat that Mary Steenburgen wears. Like it was just like one of those things where everything about it is just very like, okay, this was and I think it's very like normal family too, you know, how like when you watch things and it's either like a rich family, you know, or
Yeah.
these people who always just have things that I'm like, this is not a normal family. That was a very normal family. And and it's also kind of a take on It's a Wonderful Life. I think there's also a little bit of Christmas Carol in it, but it's a Wonderful Life and a combo of stuff. And I actually in like making sure I was getting like things written down for this, I had seen something where people were saying that they feel there's shades of Groundhog Day in it, even though Groundhog Day
Oh,
comes 8 years later. So Groundhog Day, I guess maybe took a little bit from that, if you want to say that, but um, which I could see that slightly, but I think it's an all around good movie. One of the little girls in it is Sarah Polley. I don't know how much you know her or not. She was a child actress and then still acted as an adult, but she's more of a writer director now as a grown uh, person, which I think is pretty cool. There's not a lot of women out there doing that. So
I would not have guessed that that was your number one. And
No,
unfortunately, even though I went to
it's
see it, I only remember that scene. That's it. I don't remember anything
and
else.
I almost forgot like how Harry Dean Stanton plays Gideon the Angel, and I always just it's just a good one. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just think it's very much the feel of it, you know?
Hey, you like what you like.
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Larry, I got a feeling you didn't see that one.
I didn't see that one.
It's okay. It's one that most people are always like, "What?" if I tell them the name, so
Yeah, it's another one you got to check out, Larry.
Definitely
It's
do.
from the mid '80s. Oh, and I also remember the Christmas lights are the old school, the big bulbs. I remember
yes.
that too for some reason. I don't know why I remember stupid stuff like that. Um, I just do. I remember there's like a scene outside and there's snow outside, and I remember like the lights blinking, and it was the old school, the big lights, the thick ones. Just dumb. I don't know. All right, Larry, you're number one. You're numero
Oh man, my
uno.
number uno,
Build
man.
it up. Build it up.
Man, Michelle just kind of hinted to it and said some elements in her movie that they took from this movie, kind of. And it was in 1946. I wasn't born, nowhere near born. My mom was even born. I don't. My grandma might have been born. I don't know, you know. But A Wonderful Life, A Wonderful Life. Like we watched this in school also. This was one of the movies we watched in school because I wouldn't have watched if I was home, you know. But they kind of forced us to watch it, and then I was like, oh my god, I want to see a black and white. Come on, I'm a kid. That black and white movie wasn't my thing at all. But then when you start to watch it and you start to understand the storyline behind it with George and him if he wasn't born and you know I can relate, especially nowadays, man. When life hits you and it gets rough, and it just be like, man, sometimes you wish you wasn't even here. Not suicidal, y'all. I love myself too much for that. But just the thought of just how life hits you, man. It always hits you like at moments. And then sometimes you wonder if you wasn't born and things of that nature. And it just showed him just how much his value was. And when he met the angel, when the angel was trying to get his wings, and then George, and so once he realized like I had a lot to live for, at the end of the movie, running around and Merry Christmas. And, he had a lot of energy. That guy had a lot of energy, man. What was his name? The character that was George, because he just
George Bailey,
was it George Bailey. I mean, what was his real name?
Jimmy Stewart,
Jimmy
James Stewart.
Stewart. He's a classic guy. I'm sorry, y'all. I just know he was had a lot of energy and he talked loud like he was deaf. You know, I just don't understand you, Mister. Yeah, Mister. So I just that's my
Well, he
number one.
was. Remember in the
Was he
beginning
deaf?
of the movie when he goes to save his brother, when his
Oh
brother falls
yeah,
in the ice,
he was
he has
deaf.
a problem with his ear
Yup.
because of that when he went in the water to save his brother.
Man, you just
which
man.
which was part of the story with that, where when Clarence the angel was telling him how important he was, and he was like, if you were never born, look at all those soldiers that your brother would have never saved in the
Yup.
war
Yup.
if you were never born,
Yup. That's a fact. Yup. That's a fact.
because you wouldn't have been there to save your brother when he fell in the ice.
Oh man, that was a
It
great.
had that kind of domino effect.
It did. That
Uh,
great movie.
Listen, I was actually thinking we might possibly have a three-way tie. The way Michelle was talking, Larry, you surprised me with "It's a Wonderful Life." By the way, it's a Wonderful
It's
Life.
a Wonderful Life.
That is also my number one.
Is it?
That is my number one. 1946, 2 years before my mother was born, starring James Stewart, Donna Reed as Mary Bailey, Henry Travers as Clarence, and I make sure I made note of this one, Carl Dean Switzer. Michelle, do you know who Carl Dean Switzer is?
He's
He had a
Alfalfa, and
small part in It's a Wonderful Life. He was the one who, the scene when they're in high school and they
Mhm.
open up the floor, and the pool is underneath,
Mhm.
and Jimmy Stewart took Donna Reed's character, Mary Bailey, back before they got married. So he took Mary from this other guy and started dancing with her. And
Yep.
this other guy is all sad, but he's the one that gets the key and opens up the floor. Do you know who Carl? I mean, that's his part in this movie. But Carl Dean Switzer is more famous for what other character?
Alfalfa.
Yes, he was Alfalfa
Little Rascals.
in our gang, in the Little Rascals.
The other thing that's
Yes.
kind of funny is in White Christmas, there's a scene where they show the picture of the brother of the two girls who are sisters, and the picture that they use is of a grown-up Alfalfa, the same guy.
Mm. Yeah, unfortunately, if you look him up, he has a
Yes.
very sad ending to
Yeah.
his life. But when you see him in our gang and the Little Rascals, and he's got his hair
Yep.
one piece straight up, and then you see him, as a young adult in It's a Wonderful Life. To me, he's part of the reason why I enjoy this movie so much. I never get sick of it.
Me
I
either.
always watch it in black and white, even
Me
though
too.
it is an option to watch in color.
Nah.
I always watch it because if you go to look it up on Amazon Prime right now,
It's in color.
you have both options. You'll have
Yeah, the
color
black and white is
and black and white.
Now black
But
and white
I
is the
stick-
best, bro. You can't
I
watch
You
stick
have
with
to
the
watch
black
black
and
and
white.
white.
Yeah, it
Colorized
gotta be
is
black
never
and white.
good.
Yeah.
They do that with March of the Wooden Soldiers too. There's colorized versions. Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
No,
don't like
again,
it.
got to stick with the black and white.
Not
No,
black and white.
because Homeboy Ted Turner ruined it by
Mhm.
making these classic movies and
Color.
putting them in color and making like the men have like purple hair
Yeah, it's
and
weird,
stuff
man.
like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
It
That's
looked
weird.
terrible.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. So I do have a few honorable mentions. I won't go into them hard, but I'll just mention them. Frosty the Snowman, 1969 cartoon version. Miracle on 34th Street,
Mm.
1947. Christmas with the Cranks in 2004.
Yeah, that was funny. I just
Honorable
watched that.
mention. Nightmare Before Christmas. Honorable mention. I liked Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I liked the
Which
Jim
one?
Carrey version.
Did
That's
you?
the one that I watch a
I
lot.
did not like
with
the
the kids.
Jim Carrey version.
Oh,
bro.
gosh.
Dude, I
no.
thought he
Nah.
did. I thought he did great. And not only that, do you
That was
know
stupid to me,
that
man.
that is the highest grossing Ron Howard movie?
Yeah, I mean they put a lot of
Why?
hype. They put a lot of hype behind it, but I just thought that sometimes you do too much. It's like
Ron Howard's done so much better.
I
That's
thought
that's
Jim
the movie
Carrey
that's
was
made him the most
Yeah, I
money.
agree. I agree.
The
with
one thing I
Sean.
did like is I like the Who's and Whoville in that, but
Mhm.
I don't really like anything else about it.
Yeah, I ain't like Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Grinch. It was.
It was just Jim
Uh,
Carrey, and it's supposed to
yeah.
be the Grinch, not supposed to be Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's what it was. Jim Carrey. I'm not.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're okay, brother.
Um,
You're okay.
I also got Four Christmases as an honorable mention, 2008. I got Scrooged, like you said before, 1988. And that might be it for me. Yeah, that's my honorable mentions. I got more movies down here, but they didn't make my honorable mentions. Larry, I know you said you got honorable mentions.
I had a Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer. That was definitely it. Jack Frost. I like the Jack Frost.
Which
Is
Jack
that the
Frost?
Michael Keaton movie?
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yes.
So I
Okay.
came back as a soul man, teach his son how to play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. It was the what's it called, man? Write it down though with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The jingle all the way. Was it jingle all the way?
Jingle All the Way, where
Yeah.
he's trying to get that toy.
Yeah, trying to get the toy. Him and Dan Aykroyd. Was it Dan Aykroyd in there, right? I don't know why I keep
No, it
saying
was
Dan Aykroyd.
Sinbad.
Oh, it was Sinbad.
Sinbad.
The postal worker.
It is
That was a
Sinbad.
postal worker. Yup. I don't know why I got Dan Aykroyd on my brain, man.
Is he
He was
even
in
in a
it. Christmas
Christmas
with the
movie?
Cranks.
In my Trading Places. Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan
Oh,
Aykroyd.
I mean That's a great movie. That's a John Landis movie.
It's a great movie. That was around Christmas.
Did it?
It
Is that a
was.
Christmas
I don't
movie?
remember. So
It was. Jamie Lee
Oh,
Curtis is in
come
there.
on,
She's
you're
a hooker.
No.
She was. She was. It's a Christmas movie.
Michelle, is Trading Place, is that a Christmas
It's
movie?
a Christmas.
Definitely
It was
not.
around Christmas time.
No.
It was. It was in Philly.
No way.
Around Christmas.
If that's a Christmas movie, then it's
Christmas
an honorable
movie.
mention for me. Because I like that movie.
That's a Christmas
And I'm going to
movie.
say no.
It's a Christmas movie.
And again, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then so is
Okay,
Rocky
okay,
4.
look.
I'm sticking with that.
Look, Die Hard. You could probably argue me with Die Hard, but this is a Christmas movie. They had Christmas trees up. It was a Christmas. They gave presents. It was a Christmas tree. It was a Christmas movie. She gave him a present. She took him home. It was a Christmas movie. I think it came around Christmas time. I don't know.
They gave presents.
Oh man.
There were lights in the streets. Christmas movie.
There was lights in the streets. It was snow on the ground. It actually snowed back in December. Back in I don't know what happened. Maybe global warming.
Oh,
There was snow no
gosh.
more. Back then it used to snow. every
Ridiculous.
December.
All right. Michelle, you got any
Michelle.
honorable mentions?
Oh yeah, I have. I had Charlie Brown Christmas as honorable mention, and I had It's a Wonderful Life as an honorable mention, which was hard because like that was one of those ones. Is it gonna make my list? Is it not gonna? Same as Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
What was that last one?
What?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Man, Christmas. What
It's a
year
Jim
was it?
Henson one.
Oh, Jim Henson.
Can you see it on my arm? Here.
Oh, get out of here.
I'm trying to do. It's hard to see
Oh,
what I'm doing
yeah.
right, but it's You never seen Emmett Otter? Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh, something for me to watch.
Yeah. I believe it's on Peacock. I know
it?
I watched it recently this year already.
It's on Peacock.
Well, I have Peacock, and I know
I do
Larry
too.
has it too.
Yeah, I do too.
It's cute. It was in
So-
1977, and it's like how like the Dark Crystal is Jim Henson, but it's not like
Mhm.
Muppets you're used to.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. But it's a very good story. It's very cute. I think you'll enjoy it. And it'll be a good one to watch.
What's
with
it called?
The kids.
Emmett Otter?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And it has a little bit of Gift of the Magi in it too.
Okay. Something.
I have
listen,
Love Actually as an honorable mention.
I'm shocked it didn't make your top 10. I'm shocked.
Holiday Inn from 1942, which I briefly
That's an
mentioned
oldie.
in White Christmas, and The Bishop's Wife from 1947. It has Cary Grant and David Niven in it. That was a pretty good one.
I saw that one. My mom made me watch that. One of those. Wow. Well, guys, I think our lists were great.
Oh man,
I'm going to say mine was the best because
mine
it
was
was
the
mine.
most disputed list. Mine's the most disputed and debatable.
He's like,
list.
Polarizing.
Polarizing. Look, geez Louise, man.
Mine had the most Muppets.
Indeed.
Yes, yours had the most Muppet
Yes.
theme.
And I think it was yours was like really Christmas theme based. Seriously.
Yeah, I tried to.
Yeah, seriously.
I did similar to what Gil did. I wrote down a bunch, and then I was kind of like, where do I want to rank them?
That's the only way I could do it.
And that's one of my originals, man. My originals was like Christmas stuff. I said, no, man, I'm thinking outside the box.
You know what? When you said, real quick, when you said I'm going to think outside the box, I thought you were going to do one or two horror movie Christmases, like Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night, something
I
that.
saw that.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah, but I didn't really like them
But
like
see,
that.
I wouldn't even consider those Christmas movies because I would just
No.
consider them a horror movie, not so much a Christmas
Yeah,
movie.
I didn't like.
I would agree, but I thought that's what he would do.
Yeah, I didn't like those movies though. Like when I watched them, I was
I've seen
didn't like
Silent
Black
Night, Deadly
Christmas?
Night years ago,
There's-
but I've never seen Black Christmas.
I ain't like Black
There's like 3 different versions of Black Christmas. There's the one in the 70s. There's the one that came out in like 2006, and then there was one that came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and all 3 of them, the story is different.
Yeah, I saw the
And then
most
didn't they
recent
do
one.
like a Krampus that's a horror movie too?
Krampus. Now you don't consider that a Christmas movie? Krampus?
I didn't see it. I just
I
knew
thought
that
that's more like a horror movie.
but I know it's
It's
supposed to be
more
more of
like
a horror movie.
but there's a lot more themed Christmas stuff than there is in Die Hard
No,
and
no, it's
Rocky and
not.
Gremlins.
Look, man,
A lot
you went to the
more.
Christmas party.
Well, I mean, Krampus is a real thing related to Christmas, so I do get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if you're bad, Krampus is going to come visit you, not Santa.
He said, "Merry Christmas, John McClane." The cop said, "Merry Christmas, John McClane." Come on, man.
Yes, but okay, but let's think about it.
I
Like when
can't
you
let it
think
go.
about all those things, it's like, well, if there's a part of a movie, because It's a Wonderful Life is technically not a Christmas movie at all.
Only like at the end, at the very end.
And it was never meant to be a Christmas movie. It was never released to be a Christmas movie. It was released in March. It wasn't extremely successful in theaters in 1946.
Wow.
And then when TV came about, which was most prominently in the 50s, and it was being played on TV, that was when it got its took off. And so basically everyone made it a Christmas movie
Wow,
as
I didn't
opposed
know
to
that because they
that it was
always showed
made
it.
as a Christmas movie.
Well,
I didn't know that.
outside of the end with the Christmas tree, with the bell ringing, there's nothing that they say Christmas. And
Right.
the dude playing the piano with the Christmas hat on, those are the only two Christmas things really throughout the whole movie.
Because it kind of essentially starts and ends at Christmas, but it's not really about
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, that's wild because I always thought it was related to Christmas because they always played it around Christmas time, like faithfully every December. That's when you saw it. Especially, definitely, I think on Christmas Day they used to play it, didn't they? Or at least Christmas Eve. So I was.
They
I
used to
think,
play it like a lot.
They
like,
used to play
insanely.
it right after the parade in the afternoon, right after the Macy's Day Parade. They would play "It's a Wonderful Life" at 12 o'clock on Christmas Day. I remember.
Yeah. So that's why I always.
Now, let me ask you this, since we're being all crazy. I remember as a kid the 3 gorilla movies being on Thanksgiving: King Kong, Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young. Are those Thanksgiving movies?
For real, right?
No.
No, they're not. They're not. But you remember that, right? You remember growing up and the 3 of them were on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Before I got into sports and I was watching football, that's what I watched. I watched those 3 gorilla movies in the early 80s. King Kong, Son of Kong,
And see,
Mighty
that's
Joe
just
Young.
it. Like some of the stations just decided to play whatever because they knew like the football games were on or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they would play
UPN.
something like that every year, and that's what kind of happens.
UPN,
sometimes.
Channel 9.
Yep.
They played them every year. And then they got rid of them and replaced them with a marathon of the old school Superman sitcom from the 50s, the George Reeves Superman.
Yeah.
And I watched them.
Hollywoodland. Yeah. Wasn't that it, Hollywoodland, when they did his story, George Reeves' story with Ben Affleck? Was that it?
Hollywoodland. And Ben Affleck played him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was an interesting story, man. Because his death was still controversial to this day. Nobody
Very
really knew how he died.
controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. We
Was it
left
his wife? Was it his lover?
Could have been a lover.
Yep.
They said it was suicide.
Yep.
You know, to this day, it's a good movie. Ben Affleck really did a good job playing on. You don't think so?
I think it had potential to be a good movie, but they made it more about the other guy, the guy that was not George Reeves, the one that was like investigating, like a private investigator guy.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody. They made the movie more about him than they did really the George Reeves. And I didn't like what they did with Ben Affleck with the nose. He didn't look at all like George Reeves. He would have just been better just looking like himself. But when I talk to people about, when I used to, about Ben Affleck playing Daredevil and Batman, I also used to bring up and say, he did technically kind of play Superman too.
Yeah, Daredevil was
and they were like, really? When? They're like, in that Hollywoodland movie.
Terrible.
When he played George Reeves, and nobody got it. It's like nobody watched it.
That was a terrible.
It was okay.
But the new
it was okay. It was all right.
Okay.
So listen, before we sign off, I want to just say I think the next time the three of us should do this together, there's not really much happening January, February, but I think in March is the Academy Awards usually. So
Mhm.
I think when the Academy announces the movies that are nominated for Best Picture, I think we should watch those movies and have
Okay.
an Academy Awards special on the podcast. What do you guys think?
I'm with it.
Yeah,
You
I'm
down with
definitely.
that?
I'm with
Yeah,
it.
the three of us.
I'm with it.
So we'll be back in 3 months doing an Academy
Just know that
Awards.
it's the last several years. It's been 10 movies.
Has it been
Okay,
10?
then I got 10 movies I gotta
Let's
watch.
go.
Okay, I just wanted to give you that heads up.
Let's go.
And half of them are going to be foreign films that no one's going to watch, but I'm going to watch it.
I'm
There
watching.
you go.
It's going to be nominated, so I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. We'll give it our honest review and we'll see.
If it
If
means
you,
I got to read the whole time, I got to read the whole time. Hey,
If
listen.
you need a head start, sometimes like the Golden Globe nominations are already out, and sometimes that'll overlap a little bit. So like if you look at any of those and you haven't seen anything, it might be helpful if you wanted a head start.
Usually, like 90% of the Golden Globe nominees are actors and movies are the ones that are also going to be in the Academy Awards. So
Yeah.
you might be better off, trying to watch as much as the Golden Globe ones, so you don't have to cram as much when the Academy Award makes their announcement. But if it's going to be a foreign films, it's going to be foreign film. Listen, 2 Fridays ago, I watched Godzilla -1. The whole thing was in Japanese, and I read the whole time. By the way, good movie.
Good movie.
Good movie. Michelle, you could stay away from that one. Larry, good movie.
Okay.
Good movie. I don't think it's up Michelle's alley.
He tries to get me to watch Godzilla all the time.
Did you like?
Well, I mean, he
one
fights
still?
King Kong. I thought you were a King Kong.
Did you like that
person.
one? You ain't like? I like that one. Godzilla versus King Kong.
I do like King Kong.
That was a good
You
one.
didn't see Godzilla versus King Kong?
I
Because
don't
there's
think I
another one
did.
coming out next year
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
where they team up together.
Yeah, because
When
they
did
have a
Godzilla
son,
vs.
too.
King Kong come out?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2
I don't know
years
how
ago.
I missed that.
It was good. It was good.
It's on Max.
They had
on Max.
I
what
might
was
have to check that
what's the
out because I
metal
do like
Godzilla
King
called?
Kong.
Mega Godzilla. Mega Godzilla.
Mecha.
Yeah, Mecha.
Mecha, the robot.
Yeah, the robot. Man, that was it.
He's in it too.
He was serious. I never. My thing was we was growing up was who could be who, right? I think Godzilla proved that King Kong can't do no Godzilla, man.
Well, in the 60s, they had a King Kong versus Godzilla, and King Kong won.
Did he?
That pissed me off. Yeah.
Because Godzilla is realistically, I see why he had the advantage. He could swim. He had the fire. I mean, it's like a bad fight.
Well, the movie in the 60s, Godzilla was kicking King Kong's ass, and he's laying on the ground, and an electricity bolt hits him, and it like jump starts him. And when he gets a hold of Godzilla, he has like electricity coming out his paws or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it like hurt Godzilla, and then they both kind of fall into the water. And then at the end, you just see King Kong swimming and you don't see Godzilla. So everyone's like, oh, King Kong won. But in the newer version, they fight 3 times.
Yeah.
And you know who wins.
Yeah.
You know who wins.
Yeah.
When it's between those two, you know who wins. One stood out above the rest in that one.
It wasn't even a fair fight.
No. But anyway, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the What's Good with Gil and Larry podcast. Thank you, Michelle, for once again joining in with our Christmas special. Larry and I will be back on Wednesday. Right now it's Monday. So in 2 days, Wednesday, we'll be doing our regular sports show. And we both got a lot to say because we had some heartache yesterday. Yes, we did. And we'll get Michelle back in 3 months to do the Academy Award one. I got a feeling that's going to be a long one. We might have our first 3-hour show. Because we consistently go over 2 hours, Larry.
Yeah.
We're almost at 2 hours now.
Yeah.
But anyway, for Larry Loper, Michelle Cefatelli, I'm Gil and Larry. Everyone, have a great holiday if we don't see you. But if we do, it'll be on Wednesday. So check us out. Deuces, y'all.
Deuces. Great show.
My man.
My man.